Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are bringing this live to you from the new TF Live Sydney studio in Stanmore, Sydney. Here today, I'm joined by myself and Xander. And from the international waters, I have Peter and fozzlm.
Hi.
And casting on the stream, we have Wiethoofd, as usual. So, Xander, tell me about what's happening tonight.
This is our ozfortress One Night Cup. This year it's a Revival Cup, or this off-season rather, it's a Revival Cup. We're playing all old maps tonight. This is the grand final game. So in the 2 rounds previous to this, we saw Gravel Pit being played and CP Well being played. This final is a best out of 3. I believe we're seeing this map, which is Yukon, being played, followed by Freight, and then if we need to, we'll have CP Obscure, most of which haven't been played. I think Gravel Pit was the most recently played in like season 6 or 7 of ozfortress, and CP Obscure was last played in like season 3 or 4. That being said, we are going live into this first mid really quickly as we roll out. These are the top 2 seeded teams in the grand final here. Nefarious is on blue, and I'm not quite sure what the red team is, but they came up through the second place bracket. I'll get their name as we go. League of Super Evil. There you go. Awesome. Let's take us into this mid, Peter.
Yeah, it's Nefarious versus Evil. I like it, as both teams are going to try to take the top here first. They're just sending the soldiers up there. They basically ended up knocking each other off ad infinitum here. So the soldiers just keep on jumping, and at the end we'll have no one up there, but blue is up 2 players, so now they're going to move over on their own left side here, try to contest this point and just bully everyone out. And looks like red team will manage to just get out of this middle here, so success in that part. But I think they might just end up being pushed all the way back to last, because once you go through that little choke there, it's very difficult to come back into second.
Yeah, especially with these 2 soldiers already taking that high ground, as they did so effectively at mid. They've already shut them out. But this should be an even Uber stalemate on last. Now, this last point is very hard to break into as blue team if you have people in the right place. This little sort of lip coming in there from that shutter is really hard to break through. Doesn't look like we have too much sort of being set up here. We have a sniper on the side
coming in. Oh, he gets completely denied, just gets air shot.
Omni is actually quite low. The second soldier commits to get that frag. Omni's backed off right to spawn though. He's saving that Uber.
Yeah, like usually when you want to do like a proper push into this, you go over through this far long right side. Right, like that's the best way to actually push from. So, you know, if you see someone come from somewhere that's not that, it's probably a suicide wave. But we can see this, was it League of Extended Evil or
League
Super Evil?
of Super Evil.
Super Evil, alright. Yeah, they're just gonna put some pressure on this door to try and see if they can get their sniper some space.
We do actually see on blue team, sorry to interrupt you there, but blue team Doge has come up spy. He's actually not disguised. I'm not sure what happened there. He just walked into 2 rockets. Didn't really get anything done. That's characteristic of Doge. But we do see some counter spam being traded as Dev tries to make something happen. He actually does get the force on Rising, as these players are, you know, trying to make the most out of this Uber, but this point is so long. Omni is so far back. He is actually taking a bit of spam and does get forced in the end. Some point presence from the scouts here, but they are forced to back off after this
there's
exchange.
actually 2 players down in the face of Super Evil, so they're actually losing the DM fight, I think, and actually a headshot rings out. That's going to definitely tilt the favor in the side of blue, and there we go, and they will actually cap it out. So getting your Uber force for basically soldier spam is a good move, it turns out. I don't know. I never quite realized that, but it's going to be a second round.
Yeah, that was really well played on the side of Nefarious there. We do head into this mid. This is a fairly long rollout to get to this mid. When we get there, how's about Foz? You take us through this mid this time.
Sure thing. So we see MG trying to get up on high ground, gets denied pretty quickly with Soldier. Lammy with some great rockets onto Doge, but gets immediately taken out by the stickies of Move. Both teams are kind of just taking this nice and slow. There doesn't really seem to be any early aggression, but we finally see Nefarious taking this high ground, getting a frag, and it's kind of just pushing League of Super Evil back just through positioning alone, and they will get out with their med. They lose their demo at the tail end of this fight, and we'll probably see them retreat all the way, maybe even back to last from this, and that does seem to be the case right now. Just one scout kind of peppering the point here as nefarious push all the way in and get second completely for free, so not really much of a resistance here.
They are actually coming out. There's a solo Uber being played on Lammy here, the pocket. The point is defended, but the Uber is coming in so much stronger from the blue team here. Really, really well played, actually. There's low health all around. Dev is actually getting... Oh no, he is actually getting out. Lammy trades for the scout, but the positioning is here as we do see Doge sniping yet again. He does get a clear shot onto the medic, but does miss. Hyper trading his life there, and they're just balling around their snipers, seeing what they can make happen here, Beta.
Yeah, Ten's actually going to try and flank them, but they definitely saw it coming. So, yeah, he's just going to meet another player there, Ben, and what's SPDE? Does that have a proper...
Yeah, Spade.
Spade, alright, okay. That makes more sense. Yeah, you saw Red there try to come out and contest the point again, but it's super difficult. And I've definitely also noticed that whoever wins mid seems to get second for free. It's so fast to get in there, and once you get a soldier onto the roof, it's just game over, man. But yeah, they're actually going to push in through this left side. I think they're just making space for the sniper, and so far he's doing work here. And they are like pretty close to having an Uber, so once they get that, they can just use it immediately. It is a bit risky though, as if you lose your medic...
There is actually a back cap going on right now. The point gets stacked though. Something could have happened from there. That back cap, I think it was just a soldier capping that behind, but yeah, they do stack that. Yeah, no pain train for that one. Alright, so that's two rounds up on the side of Nefarious, who were my favourites heading into this, but I guess we'll see from the results of this mid beta.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, this is a super long rollout, so like the Demo Man will not have that much impact on this middle. It seems like it's all about having those soldiers up top, and just immediately Nefarious is going to have two soldiers up there, and they will immediately get jumped by it. But there's actually two scouts up there, so Super Evil, they are just going all in. They want that high ground, and you're putting scouts on high ground. It's just like the game over move, right, if you want that. So I actually quite like this move. And they are going to have just sort of soldiers jump with them, but actually his Spade's going to have a lot of success actually getting a kill as he jumps up there, so that's going to be a trade. So at the end of this, it's just going to be, again, a slight man advantage coming out here for Nefarious.
Their med is actually caught behind now with full Ubercharge, seeing if he can meet up with people, and then they choose to refight, but they're still two down on the side of Nefarious here. They should hopefully back out of this point without having to trade Uber, but it looks like they're sort of committing.
Yeah, they are, and... Oh, sorry, Beta. You go.
No, you go.
Okay, well, it's actually just worth noting that it wasn't actually caught behind with Uber. Both meds actually fate calls at around 75-80%, and both meds fell for it on either side, which is interesting because they seem to be healing at pretty constant rates, and unless, I guess, they assumed the other med was on crit streak, would have been an odd thing for... that to happen, but it's worked out quite well for League of Super Evil, and I was really impressed with the positioning of MG during that mid and a 10. They just kind of were tentatively holding the high ground, not really overextending, but just doing enough to really force Spade to not be in the fight as much as he'd probably want to. And it just sort of ended up being a war of attrition as we see these teams kind of holding in kind of close. Dev kind of ends up going in with a pencil jump and just gets floated in midair, gets one nice rocket off, but won't really achieve much from it in the end.
Yeah, Doge does trade after that, so we do see an even out. Hey, Hyper is actually in, doesn't actually get the force off, but they do lose their Demo Man. This Uber is committed a little bit earlier from Red Team, and just now actually the Uber from Nefarious gets caught out, but they are only two up. MG's already playing that point. Moop looking to jump around and see what he can do, but he's rising their med gets fragged here, and it looks like Moop isn't too far behind. Excellent play from these two scouts by MG, just doing exactly the right thing when he needs to for his team beater.
Yeah, they cleaned up everything there. This really great scout play, and they're just going to get right on the point, and there we go. Just immediate cap out. So very strong comeback here for Super Evil League. I really like that play, and also like I've kind of noticed that the second point was always very awkward to hold, right, because of the high ground, the way it is that the middle team has the high ground, so you have to like retreat back to the house, and then you give them a lot of space, so things get really awkward really fast. So
and that was like the second hold that we saw. But we do head into this mid now. The soldiers both trying to jump to the high ground and actually sort of taking some spam for it. But the red team actually seems to have better positioning here as their soldiers are being spammed out on the side of blue team. But Doge is actually coming in and causing some people to turn around, causing Atten to lose his life actually as he falls off that high ground. And now people are coming in from behind, Doge in particular, and they are just forcing red team out. That was really, really well played from blue team, particularly Doge taking the fights that he needed to there.
Honestly, from this point onwards, I would want to see like Super Evil just get the hell out of there. They're going to lose this really quickly. Spade is pushing really, really hard, pressuring at that point and trying to get to second. You know, getting this momentum, pushing all the way to last, which looks exactly like Granary. Who designed this map?
Val.
Val. No, this is actually a community map, I believe. It was added in the classless update in like 2010, I believe.
But that is some knowledge right there. I'm gonna do some hunting on the wiki while you guys continue to cast this.
Yeah, I think this was a community design map, but we'll get the down low when Foz gets back. We seem to have settled into an even Uber stalemate, second into last here. How would you break it if you were blue team here, Obla?
Well, last time we saw blue team, the Nefarious, bring out a sniper, and just due to the way the map is designed, #poorly, there's just so many sight lines. You got your sides on the left and get a really wide peek on the medic, and plus you can kind of peek through shutter door right into that pipeline and get a good shot. In saying that though, we've got Super Evil here with MG on the sniper side and gets the peek, but he doesn't get the shot. Over to you, Sam.
Yeah, normally, on this map, right, there's basically the way the standard setup was, I remember, is that you have your demo man sticky the shutter door, right? Obviously, because you just need to do that. And then you have a soldier down in the bottom right. We actually saw a soldier just jump from down there. Doggy, he tried to get in there, but he couldn't quite get onto the medic, so he just went for something else, but it failed. And then you sent everyone else over on the left side to just gain space, right? And make everyone get out of position and redirect the spam there. And then you jump a soldier from bottom right, or you just like peek through somewhere else. So that's kind of the standard setup for breaking this, but this map was pretty notorious for having a heavy on top of the roof on last, right? Because it's just so much distant to cover before you get to that house, and then there's also a heavy on the house, and you just kind of like hide on the low side of it that's not facing you, and then it's just he does that thing where his gun shoots out of his face and he's super difficult to hit. But yeah, sniper's really good and he's on the right side, which is probably the best way to break this.
Yeah, Doge is hitting some shots in here as we do see the soldiers start to commit here. They actually lose one there, Moop trading his life for it as well, though Doge again hitting more headshots. This Uber is committed out. Slightly better Uber on the side of red team, but these scouts are on full health and they're going to play the point, but there's not enough gamers alive in the right spots. The point's being played. And yeah, they're all just, nice pipe there on the side of, I think that's decap, question marks, I believe is decap. But yeah, they do end up losing that round right at the tail end. So that's a 3-1 lead on the side of Nefarious.
Yeah, so like Super Evil went up like chasing over the medic. So Rising ended up dying over there, but it wasn't enough to, stop the cap from happening. Has anybody seen Carpet Johnson? He has a really, really good Phlogistonator video on this map.
Phlogistonator is evil and you're a bad person for liking it.
Yikes. Before we get into this mid, the creators of this map are Mangy Carface and Ace Gikmo. So congrats to them for making this map.
Now we know, and we can see like in this mid, we're talking about the previous soldier aggression onto that bridge, but this has absolutely been none. Super Evil loses 3 players almost immediately, so I don't really know what happened in this mid. Momentum keeps going by blue team, pushing onto second while Malwin is still capped. And look, they're getting just shut out. This was one choke in this little hut. What do you think?
What's the point of the second point is what I'm thinking. Like, it just goes by default to anyone, right? Actually, they are going to fight it out. Right?
Yeah, they are committing here, actually. The Uber does get used out on MG. There's a couple of flashes on both sides. The medic is juggled, actually. Falls down underneath the point. Should get caught here by Spade. Spade does take the frag here, but there is quite low health on the side of Rising, who's super low. Yeah, it does fall to MG again. MG playing so well, taking out Moop as well. That's 3-4k for MG in that fight. Ben looks like he's going to fall to it as well. MG is a king! MG is a king!
Can you get the 5th? Get him!
Oh. Stolen. But this seems to be the case for most of the match so far. When it's kind of just an Uber v Uber fight, it seems like for the most part, Nefarious just seem to be a lot more dominant, but it's kind of these scrappy, a bit more disorganized fights where Super Evil are really coming into their own, and that's really off the back of MG, who is a stupidly good scout, and I mean, he's kind of put the team on its back so far, as he's almost got Spade, who finally regroups with his medic and team, but yeah, again, it's just MG kind of forward here with the rest of his team still yet to catch up, and some interesting position being held here from Super Evil as they begin to push in.
Yeah, and this is what I was talking about, right? Where holding second is quite awkward because you kind of stand pretty far back to get the high ground, but then as soon as you lose that, you're just in this terrible choke and you have to just go out. So despite having an Uber advantage, they actually lose second, but they will Uber out here. See if they can catch anyone. It's only the demo man, though.
Yeah, second doesn't get capped. They used their Uber to save it. That's actually really good play, but they unfortunately didn't get the medic to back that play up. And this point looks like it's in very big danger of being leapfrogged here.
Yeah, Hyper's actually in a pretty good flank position. Nobody's watching this bottom flank, and he will find a single soldier behind us as Uber comes in from the front. He's going to just force everyone out. Single soldier down there getting caught, and actually, never mind. I thought that Uber was going to do a lot better than it did, but as instead, everyone else just kind of gets spread out and taken care of by goddamn.
Yeah, I think that was Doge who did a lot of work. Doge and Hyper both did a lot of work in that one. But yeah, it was literally just losing their demo before they took that Uber in really sort of cost them dearly. But because this soldier positioning from Doge and Spade is just so good, they're like standing on the high ground and doing what you should do on a map like this, and it's just costing Red Team League of Super Evil. It's just costing them rounds.
So what I wonder now is how are they going to take in this Uber? Because they have a pretty big Uber advantage. It looks like they're actually going to go through bottom. At least they have two soldiers down there with the medic. Oh, yeah, they're just going to Uber straight in there. I don't think they actually had to use it, but they didn't have time to check for stickies, I guess. So they just popped it right in there. They did force everyone out, but they didn't get any kills either. So, I don't know, a half success. It probably depends on whether or not they can actually finish up on this point. Looks like they will.
Do
they
actually get 2 kills. They get 2 frags at the end of that Uber, which is really well played by them. Lammy actually getting caught out by the aggression from Moop and the soldiers there. Spade is committing to this fight, hitting some good rockets there, but the rest of his teammates are coming in from the left side, from the defenders' attackers' perspective. Sorry, they do get the force out from Omni, and MG is trying to fight forward and see what he can get, but there's only there's 2 down, so they've kind of like delayed it, but that's really all they've managed to do. Peter.
Yeah, just a bit too far of a commitment there by everyone involved to try and get that Uber force out. They just couldn't escape with everyone intact there. It was pretty funny seeing both soldiers and demos just desperately jumping out as the second does get recapped here. So it's just basically this Uber seesaw going on right now where they keep on pushing in with an Uber and then the enemy team retreats and then the point gets capped and then the enemy team gets the Uber and then they use the Uber to get the point back and so on.
Yeah, classic leapfrog in this second point in this case. But the Uber is up for blue team now and they're starting the fight. Dev jumping in quite deep trying to get something to happen, but he does actually get the force. That was not something that needed to happen from Rising there. That's not the Uber that needed to happen. And now the Uber is being committed in on MG. Rising is actually playing below the point. I don't think they've caught him. No, his scouts are cleaning up. Ben is cleaning up here. Oh, nice pipe. Rising is actually super low here after that pipe.
Another flank coming from behind. There's actually 2 players all the way in on last here. MG will clean up one of them. But that was pretty weird seeing a soldier and a scout all the way back in on last. And they just did a ton of work, and looks like Hyper, he finds MG, but MG's not to be messed with. Takes him down.
He's recently upgraded his computer, so he's hitting these shots now. But yeah, this does seem to be a slight positional advantage on the side of blue team. They're set up on this point. I don't know if red will commit to the push here.
Honestly, I don't think so. There's a 50% Uber ad for a Nefarious here. Knowing how choky this point is, especially when they have to push outwards from that little shutter door, I don't think they're going to do it. I really don't.
Yeah, last time what they did was they had the same like Uber disad, but they had one player spawning, which was Hyper at the same time, and in the last situation that was the similar, they chose to leapfrog on second rather than this last push with full disad, which they are actually
Uber comes in, yeah. They actually take down the Pyro immediately. There's a sending gun on top of the roof instead of a heavy, and they will take that down as well. The picks are pretty even right now, but a lot of pressure coming in on this right side. The high ground is definitely in favor of the defending team right now, and I think it's just been a bit too slow here for the blue team to get in. And yeah, they will actually get the Uber Force in the end, but they're going to lose a couple players in that process. So, Doggy's on the right side. Maybe they're going to threaten the back cap, force people back. That would actually be a really good play. And yeah, that looks like what's going to happen.
Yeah, Spade's trying to block this point, and they are moving backwards. MG just hitting so many shots, though. Spade in behind does get Omni. Wow. Large plays.
Yeah, and it's kind of... That's what's dictated the last kind of few big moments of this match. It has been these kind of late Roma plays. Spade then, and before nefarious, when it seemed like they would get second for free and then being able to steamroll into last, Dev with that kind of nice force. So it'd be interesting to see if these two players keep dictating the tone of the match and take it away from the scouts, as we've seen from the first half of the game. But right now, just a spam battle has forced League of Super people to go all the way back to the second, and they lose Lammy. Don't know what quite happened with that fight. It was a bit just awkward and misjointed from League of Super Evils. They do pick up Doge, but they lose 2 for it, including that demo. So Nefarious should be able to get into last, but completely free with about a 50% Uberad. It should be no worries. They will have to contend with respawn in about 6 seconds, but they're just going full steam ahead, and they get a medic right away. Fantastic dot push from them. Spade gets on the point. He locks player out into spawn. A heavy comes out, but it's just not enough, and that's a really clinical and basically perfect push there as they fail to lose a single player.
It's definitely true. We've got 10 minutes left on the clock as we jump into this 5th round here. I do want to see if they have this, soldier aggression and the scout aggression post-soldier fight on the bridge, because that suddenly didn't happen on the last mid. And here, we've seen Moop always getting the forward rollout, always beating Super Evil to mid. And here we see the Doge early aggression onto MG. Going deep, he's going deep! And he's disappeared into the back lines. Take it on, Vita.
Yeah, it's been this very aggressive fight here right now for Super Evil as they move forward. They have lost their medic, but they've gained a lot of ground. There's only going to be Ben remaining, and he's actually going to get the first kill. He takes a lot of damage in the process, though, but, he's not going to give up the fight. He will eventually get taken down. So, but I really like this mid from Super Evil. They went very aggressively there. And you know what I haven't seen so far in this map? On this middle? A sniper. This is like the best sniper mid ever. Like, look how just elongated this map is. And whenever someone jumps up top, you just body shot them and he just dies every time. So I want to see that. I want to see like a heavy in the tunnel. That's what you do. You play a sniper and then you hide a heavy in the tunnel, and then when they move forward, you just crush them with a heavy and everything else.
Yeah, I don't know about that, Beta. I think the real class limit to see here is the Phlogistonated Pyro. Just look at Carter Johnson. He is a god.
Please stop talking.
Oh my god, dude. This man has recently bought a pro killstreak flog and plays pubs with own
Xander, can I have a request? Can you please walk over about a meter and unplug his computer? Please and thank you. You'll be doing all of Australia and the world a great service.
The disrespect. I bet this man top frags in pubs with his flog.
He definitely does.
Yeah, that's how the flog works. Anyway, we actually have an Uber fight coming out here, and Ben will go down pretty early on in it, so it's going to be a man advantage coming out from Super Evil here, but they can't quite go through here, and it looks like Dev will actually go down as well.
Yeah, they're just a little bit more disjointed on the side of Red Team there. The frags were just like focused so much harder. We do see Doge actually jumping in super aggressively to help Spade and Hyper as they're also in super aggressive, but MG did what he could in that situation, but can't quite fight it. As Moop again... Moop playing his characteristic super aggressive demo style does jump in and kill the medic. That was really, really well played by Moop there. And we just see Atten as the last survivor running back to meet his spawners at last.
Speaking of well played, Dev didn't do that. He just bumped his head into a ceiling, then he didn't reload his rocket, and then he jumped up and instantly died. He just fed pretty hard.
That's a classic OzFortress admin moment of mediocrity.
We are all terrible at the game.
Join the club.
The medic main caster union.
So here we go, we see Nefarious pushing into last here with a 50% Uberad, coming all the way on the left-hand side. We've got a sentry and a sniper on the defending team. Here we go, here comes the push. Take it away, Xander.
This gun hasn't gone down yet. I think it actually hasn't been seen. Oh no, I say that. The gun gets taken down super quickly. This Uber has taken so much ground, and the point is being played by Moop. people are just turning around to get him, but he's surviving way too long. Dev finally gets the frag. It's just Lammy left alive here with 2 scouts and a soldier. He's not going to play the miracle for his team there, unfortunately, and that is yet another round on the board. We play to win difference here, so there's 1 more round on the side of blue team if they win it, and then you have to keep in mind that there's only 6 minutes left, and I think it could theoretically be doable, Peter. Is this doable in your experience?
No, I mean, unless you're an Aussie team at a European land, there's just no way you can lose. You can win that many, or lose that many rounds, or that kind of an advantage. So, yeah, once again, we see both soldiers just jumping up top here, and actually, the both scouts up top as well will actually really cause this top area to be just dominated.
Oh wow,
by red
Omni
team.
up top as well. I didn't know you could get there as medic. That was really well played by him. Yeah, and just Moop and Rising leaving at the end of that fight. That was really well played, Foz.
Yeah, it was. It's been interesting. Kind of, League of Super Evil have kind of had flashes of absolute brilliance and kind of just overwhelmed Nefarious, but they just really can't string 2 of them together, which has kind of plagued this entire map. I really hope that changes for match 2. Because it would be fantastic to see. I do want to see this go all 3 maps, just because I like seeing teams play awful old school TF2 maps. But
yeah,
I guess we'll just have to see.
Yeah, definitely seeing why some of these aren't played. Oh, Omni drops! Doge comes in and gets 2 frags on the medic and the demo. I don't know if the stream caught that, but that was an amazing play from Doge just there. They do lose actually basically everyone else on the side of them for it though. Collapse is coming in from Red Team really, really well. They don't get the force out of Rising here, but they're caught out behind. The Uber does come in, stopping this second point. Just Spade. Spade actually does get the frag. Atten is running away.
Yeah, he's trying to catch everyone else at different angles, and it looks like everyone's just funneling into the medic trying to get him, but nope, that's not going to be. And now the demo man here trying to get the cap point, but just overwhelming.
Stands on 2 of his own stickies.
As you do. And everyone here from Nefarious, they're just going to move into middle, and actually they catch out this soldier, and he will get taken down. Dev, he was hiding in the corner, but the soldier just looking down at him, so a sad existence for him as he gets taken down, and mid will go to Nefarious.
Yeah, classic Roma moments there. But we do see actually a large ad on the side of Red Team. I don't know if they'll make anything happen off this, as they are still 1 player down. They should have that spawn coming in by the time their Uber comes up. But this is a dire situation. 4 minutes left. What would you do?
I mean, you just push as fast as possible, right? Or you just maximize your points and maximize your logs, basically, right? That's what you do. There.
Yeah, Hyper is actually bouncing around underneath the point, causing actually a lot of trouble getting the frag onto Atten there, but MG does come in with the cleanup. MG is playing a really, really good game right now. Unfortunately, his team is kind of getting walked over a little bit.
Oh, no way! Ben chokes a couple of jumps and then gets absolutely mitted to shit by Moop, but he still gets the air shot onto Rising, and he craters. What an amazing play.
Actually,
Yeah,
as you say that, medics just go down on both sides there. And it is just Decap and Atten fighting Moop on mid. Moop is quite low. No one wants to commit to this frag. They're frightened of the Pipe King. Oh no, Moop does get taken out by Dev in the very last situation there. But we do still see Red Team on mid, but Hyper is up Pyro. Crits to Pyro.
That's my class. See? Look at this Scorch shot.
Does he have
and
a
the
flog,
plus
though?
No, he doesn't have a flog, unfortunately. Dev is jumping in. He does actually lose that fight. Hyper going down. Rising actually does get cleaned up as well. That little bit of disrespect has cost them a little bit here.
That's what you get. Doe's going to jump in here. Oh, nice shot from him. Good air shot. You kind of get immediately cleaned up, but he's not going to care. That was a great shot onto that soldier.
Yeah, smiley face. Classic smiley face bind in chat there. But yeah, that's really well played. And they do see this even Ubers into this last point. And this is crits actually on Rising, I should say.
Yeah, and it's even Ubers, so whenever you have a crits, that means that you have the advantage. Actually, there's going to be an attempt on Omni's life here, but he will survive it. Now, we finally have the heavy up on the high ground, and even as a pyro and a medic up there, that heavy's going to be a tank. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I
This
reckon when
position on
they
the house.
push in, this could be some laser beam situation if they push into this.
Man, that's the only thing that was missing from this heavy positioning is just giving him laser beams. You know.
On top of that, you got a pyro, a heavy, and now a sentry. So surely this defense is impenetrable.
Yeah, with like a minute and a half left, they're trying to sort of gremlin this as hard as they can. They're just turtling hard on last.
And I can't believe that, but Moop missed the easiest sticky death of his life and could have killed about 3 people if he timed it about
laser
a quarter of
beams.
a second later.
The Ubers fades, the laser beams come in. Omni takes a lot of damage, but actually the laser beams were popped a little bit too early, and they didn't really get anything done. Hyper losing his life. 2 actually down. Doge losing his life as well on that point, but there is a minute left. They need to play really, really aggressively, focusing this heavy down if they can before they get this point played. Scout's getting mulched by the sentry. Lammy's actually on point. That's a lot of cap time, but it's not enough, unfortunately. Some spam coming out from Omni, clearing up Ben, but this gun's still up, and now Doge and Hyper have both spawned, and this looks pretty dire for Red Team in this, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that fight basically came down to the fact that the heavy was wearing both the cat cosmetic and the bird cosmetic, and it was well known that if you have multiple animals on your person, you're more likely to hold last.
Hot take.
It is a
you
hot take.
wear the Papa cosmetic as well. That gives you like more damage.
Oh, that is a
Crit,
filthy
sticky,
sticky.
and Lammy cleaning up as well. The laser beams are getting committed in here. Decap forced to back out here, and he does actually lose his life. Just Atten. Oh no, Atten does die to the best weapon in the game.
It's
Surely the
definitely
best.
true.
No, that's the detonator. The
No, I
detonator
think
is-
it's the Phlogistonator, and here we come. The map is over. It is 5-1 to Nefarious on Yukon.
And
To be fair, like the Phlogistonator and the detonator, they work together, you know, so they can both
I think it's more the
coexist.
Scorch Shot, because that way you get more damage.
You
No,
don't
you
have
don't.
to. You don't have to aim with the scorch shot, which is
Yeah, you hit
better.
everything.
you don't have to aim as pyro. Let's be honest.
Are you gonna take that, Clem?
No, because I already top score as pub, and I have nothing to prove.
And that's why you retired as head admin.
Do we have any logs here for this map?
We
yet?
do. And we see Spade dropping a hot 314 DPM, 1 DPM more than Decap. So
Outplayed.
he takes home all the bacon here. Decap, can just go cry.
Decap actually putting in a good performance for his team there. I mean, I was seeing a lot of questionable plays from him dying in odd spots, like getting caught out in front of his team and things like that. But that damage is nothing to sneeze at, as it were.
Yeah. Well, what's MG's stats? Yeah, they're good. We kind of knew this, right? That was what I was most excited to just look at. Going 26 for 17, 12 assists, 261 damage per minute. That's really good for Scout.
Actually, topping that, on top of that, going 33 for 17 is Doge. Doge playing so well in that map, getting the drop, getting the force every time he needed to, putting in the work on that roaming soldier, I believe he was playing. But yeah, again, like looking at these stats, you can just see blue team is on top of red team in basically every stat that you see. Moop doing quite a lot of damage on demo as well, followed closely by Doge on that roaming soldier. Yeah, lots and lots of damage that just really wasn't answered by red team there, unfortunately.
Yeah, not only that, you got both of Nefarious' soldiers doing mad work. Like Doge is picking up 5 medic picks and Spade doing 4. And having, look at that, 16 deaths by Omni in a time of like 30 minutes is really not a good game for him.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the medic stats themselves, you can see that while both demos, I mean, it's a tight map, so you would see both demos taking all of those heals, but we do see almost 5k heals more on the side of Rising than Omni, and that's just purely because Omni was dying all the time. Rising, I believe, not dying much at all. Rising dying 7 times to the 16 deaths on the side of Omni.
Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting that MG takes a lot of heals, and then he's like second in heals on his team, even more than Lammy. And then on the other team, it's actually the other way around, where Spade gets the heals, and then you have like the two scouts getting fewer heals.
Yeah, so, I assume as well that MG's calling. I'm not sure who else would be calling on that team. Maybe Lammy, but I assume MG's calling as well, and putting in that kind of performance while he's main calling as well is quite impressive.
Yeah, I believe it's a combo of mainly MG and a bit of Lemmy. As we move to our next map, which I heard is pretty obscure, and that's my only joke for the night, so I'm done. See you guys all later next season. Bye.
Yeah, so we do see, I think I said in the intro that Obscure would be the third map, but we do see actually Obscure as the second map here. Obscure, I think, was last played, as I said at the start, in Season 4 of ozfortress, and we're now up to like 22 or 23, like leading into 23 now. So this has been quite a while since it's been seen some airtime. I believe, have you played this most recently, Beta?
I think so. I'm pretty sure I won Div 5 when Obscure and CP Freight were in the map pool. So that is how far back we go. It's a long time ago I played Div 5 or won anything. So it's that should tell you something. I can't remember, like Season 10 or something. Or maybe even earlier. I don't know. A PT of 12. But yeah, I quite like Obscure, actually. It was one of my more liked maps, like especially compared to Freight, which I really hate. But this map has a lot of things going for it. Like, number one, most importantly, it has like a floating med kit on middle, which is awesome.
Yeah, I love that floating head med kit.
Yeah. it just makes you want to fly across the map into the ever-loving arms of the enemy scouts. But yeah, it's like a super baity med kit, but it's awesome. I love it.
What do we think is causing it to stand up there?
I'm pretty sure if you don't have... Yeah, there's like, actually, if you don't have an FPS config, I'm pretty sure it makes sense.
Oh, okay.
Is there like some lights or something that it's hanging from, like string lights or ropes or something? Yeah. Yeah, I don't actually see those. It is just a floating med kit, so I believe that it's being held in place by the same thing that crossing a box gives you health. So that's what I believe. But yeah, I mean, Obscure, what map would you say compares to Obscure the best that's played nowadays? Does it play, like, take the mid, for example, does the mid play like, say, Badlands mid? Because I notice it has the same underpoint kind of bridge kind of area as Badlands does. Would you say that it's similar to Badlands or a different map, Beta?
The map it reminds me the most of, in just the flow of the whole map, is actually not... I can't quite remember what it was called, but it was like this hybrid map of like Badlands Middle and its follower. CP Follower is the map it reminds me the most of.
Oh, that's another old map there.
Yeah, I know. But just it has this really long map, and so it kind of reminds me of, I want to say, like Process in the way that it plays, where you just send in two soldiers and you like run across the point. It's a lot more flat, a lot more just vision on it, and again, it's a very good map to run sniper to mid on, because you just put the sniper over where like the broken fences are on the side, and he can just see everything on middle. So it's just very, very strong. But there is a wall where you can like sneak a soldier in and then jump him. So there's counterplay to it. So it's just all about basically staying poised as a team and then focus firing as people move across the point, because you can see most things coming. And you'll very often see teams try to send a soldier in through the side and just go behind.
Yeah, sniper is something that I would like to see come out of these teams. MG is a very, very strong sniper, as is both Ben and Doge on the other team. So the sniper, I think, could be played to great effect on this mid, because there is some talent on both of these teams. But I mean, I guess we just got to wait and see as to how each team plays this. I'm not aware that anyone has actually scrimmed on this map recently. There's been a few teams scrimming on some of the old maps, and I have learned to hate Freight just as much as you, Beta, from playing it in the last couple of days. But yeah, I mean, I guess we sort of see what different strategies come out from both teams here. How is this usually played, Beta? Like what's usually run towards mid?
Like run to mid is just either a sniper or just cookie cutter. I would actually say that running two scouts and a sniper to mid could work pretty well, just because of how open it is. It's pretty easy to just have scouts basically run up on the high ground and just do some edges. It's pretty difficult to find an opening as a soldier, which is why they try to jump behind and flank a lot. But then after that, if you're missing players when you hold second, it's very, very difficult to stop the enemy from going behind, because it's actually like a really wide point. Like, all the chokes are pretty easy to hold individually, but they're so spread out that if you're just missing someone, they will just run through one of the flanks, and then they'll just flank behind, and there's going to be a scout there, and things get really uncomfortable. So if you're a lot of people up, it's pretty easy to hold, but if you're not, then it can be very difficult to really keep under control. And then last is pretty notoriously hard to push, and it's also quite cramped. It's basically like two separate areas where you can forward hold, but that's just to slow them down. And then there's the final point in there where it was very known for having like a heavy standing in the spawn door because there's this stairway on last.
Yeah, this last always reminded me of like Logjam Last and things like that. It's one of those like tight lasts with like 3 entrances that you can go through. But this second is like, as you say, there's like a lobby into second. It's quite a long map, but yeah, I don't know, it's interesting. I haven't actually casted a game on this map before. I've seen a few plays on this map, like back when Immunity, I think, had a couple of games on this map that I've seen on old like Griever TV casts and things like that. But yeah, it's a new experience to me. Has anyone played this map except for Peter here?
That's a big old no from me. This is the first time I've even done a run through of this map in its entirety, which is what you want to hear from someone who's adminning this tournament, technically. So it should be interesting to go through. Clem or Mr. Obla, what about you?
Yeah, so I've actually been playing TF2 from the inception of the game in 2006, and prior to that, Team Fortress Classic. So I can confidently say that we actually have played this map in multiple seasons, and Peter is completely right in how the game style is played. It's very open, you got soldiers bombing, and how he brings up the fact that you can have 2 snipers on this map, which is what we typically don't see in the contemporary 6v6 of today. Yeah, but it's definitely a good way to have a flashback back to like 2010.
Yeah, like I quite like this map, as I said. Like, it basically has 2 issues, and that is pushing from middle into second and from second into middle. Especially from second into middle can be very, very difficult. Like, you're always on the low ground or coming out through these weird flanks or some very close chokes. So basically, if you look at the chokes leading into middle, you can see how that's like a big issue to actually push off of that. You basically have to like uber through. So that's like one of the big issues I remember. And then the second one is that the last can be kind of difficult to play, and it all feels very cramped, and it's not super fun. And there's like, again, that heavy in the forward spawn is just awful to deal with. So like, those are the 2 big issues that these teams have to kind of contend with, and maybe even try to solve. But maybe the other teams don't know how to abuse it, so we're not even going to see it at all. So in a way, it can actually be better that they don't know how to play it.
Yeah, I mean, talking about these teams, we didn't really give these guys a proper introduction. So these are both teams that I believe have been formed purely for this cup, so there's not like a lot of experience playing together. However, on the side of blue team, on Nefarious, Hyper, Ben, Moop and Doge have been playing together on various teams for quite a while, but this is the first time we've sort of seen Spade and Rising kind of join them on this team. And I think the other team is a little bit more of a mishmash. There's a few people who've been playing together for a while. Lammy has probably played this in the original Season 4. I think Lammy's been playing for quite a while, playing Soldier this time. But I think everyone else is fairly newly thrown together. So it'll be interesting to see if the sort of coordination that we've seen from Blue Team holds up, or if maybe Lammy's knowledge of having played this, I assume played this before, I think he played back then, sort of comes through in the end. But I believe that we are heading live soon. Does anyone have any predictions just before we do head live? Beta, what's your prediction?
Well, seeing how I don't know any of these teams, I'm going to be an expert on this, so I will say that we're going to see another blue team victory. It's going to be maybe a little bit slower than last map. Like, normally Yukon is super slow, but I don't know. For some reason it was pretty fast because of the way second just got rolled over all the time. So I'm going to say this is going to be slightly slower map and slightly closer. So Nefarious is going to win like 4-2-2.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I'm in with
Obla?
that with Peter. Yeah, I agree. I think we're going to see probably about 6-1 scoreline. I think it'll be about the same pace if Nefarious can keep up their momentum. So now we see the very first mid happening. And again, this is a bloody long rollout. Who designed these maps?
Well, Decap didn't because he is completely lost. He's the slowest man to mid. He did a terrible rollout. He was like, wait, where are all the med kits? I should have studied this. But yeah, both teams just kind of on there. We see the soldier has jumped behind, and that's Doggy. He's come in here, and he has not hit anything, but he's in a great position as the rest of his team is just going in there. But unfortunately, he doesn't really hit anything. And the second soldier, Spade, has come in as well. He's done his best to do a lot of damage, and it has forced a lot of people back. But both teams basically have been sent back here, and 10 and MG will clean up really well. Now we see Rising just running out there with Ben, and there's no way they can hold second.
Yeah, we do
100%.
see people already on second. But we did see actually Hyper running out Pyro to that mid, and he didn't really do anything as their soldiers both tried to jump aggressive with that Pyro protecting, but the scouts just walked through that Pyro after both of their soldiers were cleaned up. It was unfortunate there. We do see this upper push into last. Even Ubers, we might see some sacks and stuff before any push is actually committed, but there's actually quite a lot of spare Moop going kind of low. But there's actually Mitch on 13 health, sorry, MG rather, on 13 health. And there's a lot of spam being exchanged in, as you said, what a tight last this is.
And there we go, the engineers' buildings have been taken down. Obla, just so you know, the maker of this map was none other than TF2 legend himself, Byte. So, maybe be a bit more
TCM
respectful.
Byte. Is it the same TCM Byte, or is it like
it
a...
is.
I thought he
It
just
is-
did the update of it.
Well, on TF2 Wiki, it lists him as the only developer, so...
Oh yeah,
you know.
he made a summer version which was way worse. Like he basically killed his own map. It was kind of impressive.
When in doubt, change a snow theme to a grass theme, and you have what should be a better map, but apparently this was the one case where this is not true. We see Doge still just trying to get us some shots, and frankly being entirely unsuccessful, as I think it's mostly down to the fact that League of Super Evil don't know where they're meant to be holding, so it makes it a bit difficult for a sniper on the opposite side to know what to do. As Dev goes in for the Roma special, not quite, actually Spade does escape with his life, so not quite the Roma special.
Doge is actually up on Spy. Is he checking stuff in spawn? Or is
No,
he
he's
committed?
being full-on espionage, man. He's leaving out. Oh, wait, no, it's going to go out the shutter. And yep, he's out the right shutter.
Atten is on Spy as well. Spade's actually
He
behind.
doesn't
Force
know
is
how to
on
get
these-
out.
What?
Doge is now stuck behind on Spy after that
But-
Force.
Yeah, so Spade did all the work, and Doge did not know how to get to the high ground, so he is just backed off. He's now... Oh, there we go.
He gets a stab.
Dev.
But
And he
Atten is
slowly
like
walks
in.
back.
Atten is in. Doge actually walks right past him in the end there. Atten is behind. There's some counter espionage on the way. We'll see what happens.
But
Actually,
we
Lammy
have a
losing his life.
We have a very a sentry gun which is perfectly primed to take this point, and a soldier. He uncloaked in front of Doge. That is, he drops a WTF. What the freak in chat?
What the frogs?
What the frogs? As
What the
frankly, he is blaming Doge on his awful spy work. As MG somehow gets behind and cleans up Doge with a
Got
gun.
him.
So that's all that matters. And there we go. There's the freak I was talking about.
I honestly beg to differ. I think the F stands for flog. But yeah, how we do see
That's
Spade is actually jumping in really deep. Does get Omni. Lammy losing his life there as well. And this looks like a free mid from blue team. There's 3 frags down on the side of red team. What's this Hyper running? Was that a Eureka effect that he just went back to spawn or something?
Yeah, I just saw him teleport back to spawn, but that was the only thing I saw. I don't know what was going on there. But yeah, now we're going to see this is pushing on to second. It's actually a soldier behind the medic, but he's not able to quite find his target there, as Dev will just get cleaned up because they did see him. And there's just no contesting here on the second. It's a big like DM arena basically. The second point. There's a lot of roofs you can stand up, a lot of like little hoodoos as well. You can get on. So if you can actually ever get a fight on the second point, it's super fun. But
This Uber is committed. Yeah, Uber committed really, really quickly. Ben doing a lot of damage to Decap, but Decap actually surviving for a very, very long time. Now it's just MG on 2 health with the spawn of Putus not even getting there in time. And that is the first round on the board for Nefarious.
Yeah, Omni actually did a pretty good job for the first 3/4 of that Uber, just kiting it. But again, this comes down to just not understanding the map. He kind of ended up walking into a corner with what I probably assumed he thought was an exit. It just ended up being caught out by the scout, so that disconnected heals, and everyone just ended up dropping like flies. So
yeah, actually,
it pays to at least
Decap just tried to walk through a door that doesn't open.
Actually, on that, we do see a sniper on the side of Dev Zero. He's not standing in the sniper nest, but he is getting some shots off on mid, hitting a couple of body shots there, dealing some damage for his team. But his team is all forced right back in with him, as they're actually forced below the point, fighting really messy as Decap is fighting Hyper, but he looks like he's going to lose it. Yeah, does lose it in the very end. Atten committing, seeing what he can do.
Oh, no way!
Okay.
I didn't know Dev could do that. That's some nice shot on the side of him.
Wow, okay. A LOL and a Lamo were dropped in chat, and frankly, they were deserved.
Yeah, a pretty big key to this middle is to spread out your team a lot, because you don't want to drop down below, then you just lose, right? So you want to like have someone stand over in the sniper nest, someone on the middle, and someone on the hoodoos, and on that middle, everyone from red just stood basically in their own doorway. So they just all ate the same spam, and then they got pushed back.
Yeah, they know they have this ad, so they're just taking their time with it. Actually, Doge is up on Brass Beast Putus coming here as they push into this point. Doesn't look... Oh, there you go. He peeks, actually catches Decap out, forces him to jump away, taking quite a lot of damage. They're taking the ground here. Doge spamming the Brass Beast gun as he becomes that stationary sentry. There's a lot of ground being taken. Red team are forced way back. They should just get out before this. Yes, the flank comes in. I was just about to say, Spade comes in and cleans up everybody. He's on last by himself. Just Atten left alive behind the team. He's not going to stop second. He's does actually frag Hyper in the end, but it's too little too late, as that is the second round on the board.
Xander, I would like to make one correction. You said Brass Beats Heavy was a stationary sentry. I would like to let you know that all sentries are stationary. That is my contribution.
Okay, yes, I take your correction on board and will become a better person because of it. Thank you, Foz.
No worries.
Decap gets to mid just at the same time as Moop. I think he's figured it out this time. That's great. We do see both.
Moop almost took the right path. He didn't do it quite right, but his general path was correct. So I can tell you that much. Look at this one scout being super aggressive. He was getting taken down. That was MG having all the confidence in the world. Now Rising has been forced down onto the low ground. This is where you don't want to be. He's just going to try to get out. But actually, Doggy comes in from behind, takes down 2 players, including the medic. That's really huge from him. And that's going to enable everyone else to just run in here. Just adding remaining. But no, Rising is just completely alone. Ooh. But he will eventually get saved there by Spade.
Yeah, he very nearly gets that. That was nearly the clutch play from Atten there. But yeah, just a little bit more damage on the side of blue team facing that out, as they both seem to be sort of playing the no, I mean, I hesitate to say right positions because I don't know what the right positions are, but it seemed like that mid was much more figured out than the last couple of mids have been, Beta.
That's definitely true. Sorry to take this off from you, but
dual
like,
pyros.
We actually saw like 2 scouts actually push forward on the side of Super Evil across that mid, and Decap, for fuck's sake, even found himself at mid.
Christian
somehow...
stream, my dude.
Oh,
yeah.
Apology.
Right. Actually, on the right side, we see a very common move is just overpower this right side. As I said, it's very spread out. So there was just a single soldier, so he just get like 6v1 basically, and gets taken down. And now they just have so much room here. So
well, Spade does get cleaned up. Spade tried to do the same flank that he did before, but he was, I think, called out a little bit earlier. Did do a lot of damage to the demo, but does lose his life for it. But this is an even Uber situation yet again, actually, on this second. I wonder if we'll see any spy shenanigans just yet. Actually, the Uber is forced. Omni tries to save his pyro there, and this Brass Beast is doing so much work. Oh my goodness.
And the pyro on the point trying to airblast everyone away. Unfortunately, he can't quite do it, but still a lot of stickies on the point. Moop on a kill streak here. It's just a medic man. He takes him down. I think that was a 5k from Moop on that last point. Just completely punishing everyone.
He was doing a lot of work, but that Putus did so much damage. That was so silly. But yes, that is 3 rounds up. Hyper actually running Sniper to this next mid. Hyper actually has been going off on Sniper the last few days. I know I didn't mention him at the start, but he has been hitting quite a lot of shots. Our team scrimmed him scrimmed his team, rather, this team, and the Hyper was going off, so we'll see if that comes into effect this mid, as we see Decap bombing super deep and dealing a little bit of damage, but actually looks like he's... Oh, he does get Hyper in the end. Rising goes down to MG, and Ben, the scout, cleaned up there. Doge does see what he can do, gets the medic right at the very end, but Moop is so low, and Spade is not far behind him. They both get cleaned up, losing only their medic for that mid, off the back of that... what I theoretically was a questionable bomb from Decap, but it caused so many people to turn around.
Yeah, you don't question him. That just won them everything, because he did, like, I don't know, 130 damage to the medic, piped someone down, just obviously took a ton of attention, just got into choke. I even think he stole like a med kit, so just the demo bomb, new meta, I guess. But that really worked out for him, so, you know, he messed up some of the earlier rollouts, but this time around, I guess he figured it out.
Yeah, Decap is actually quite forward, spamming in lobby, but there's no one there to back him up, so he could get caught out. There is a soldier on him, actually. Decap looks like he's going to get caught out. He's very, very low. Yeah, kills himself with a pipe onto Spade there. That's unfortunate positioning from him. He should have known his team wasn't there with him. That's, you know, gone from king players to questionable players. Actually, we do see a crits up on Omni here. It does look like this Uber is going to even itself out. But yeah, we do see crits on the side of blue team as they're pushing into this Putus, etc. And sentry gun, they get...
oh, they're critting the sentry gun. That's unfortunate. That's not how you're supposed to do it. As medic would just immediately get taken down. Oh, and 10 actually just runs in and takes down Rising.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
I was about to say League of Super Evil were feeding there, which, I mean, they totally were. I mean, MG just walked into a sentry gun and died immediately. But then a 10 just put a rabbit out of the hat and got the dumbest med frag you could ever expect in a situation. And okay,
Hyper trying to teleport back to spawn gets cleaned up. Moop looks like he's going to lose his life here. And the... I'm not going to say stationary sentry, but the stationary Putus does get cleaned up in the end. Spade losing his life as well. This is actually really, really good on the side of League of Super Evil. There's only 3 up, and they look like they're going to try to force this point here before their spawns come in.
Yeah, they have the high ground here because everyone's just standing on the point, but the MG will actually go down immediately here, and the sentry gun is down. But look at this, they just have the soldier Lammy just standing up on the high ground, just raining down death. Now he's on the point. Everyone's just going to get chewed up as they go in here, and that's going to be around that brings them closer.
Super well played from Moop, but he just, like, he did die there. He got a lot of kills on point. But unfortunately, he did get cleaned up in the very end just due to the sheer numbers and positioning advantage on the side of Red Team. But that's their first round on the board. We'll see if Decap tries anything aggressive. How's about you take us through this mid, Obla? You haven't said anything for a while.
Yeah, because I'm a bit drunk drinking this beer that you've given me. Here, Decap tries to go really, really far deep, but he gets
one standard drink, dude.
It's also a ginger beer. But he also tried to go really deep, but he gets absolutely cut off by the scout. Ben and his 10 friend is still there. But Hyper's juking all his players, but nefarious really just gets that mid really comfortably. So Decap definitely did get blocked as he tried to go for the hero play in the initial mid.
I have some expert analysis from chat, sorry, of all things, to interrupt the game quickly. But someone has pointed out that League of Super Evil stands for lose, so that's all you need to know about this.
Alright, okay.
As
Actually,
the crit
we have a
comes
scout
out.
crit. Okay, that's, and he does get 2 kills with it. It's not quite enough to get an achievement, but it's still pretty decent. As everyone, there's actually only 3 alive here, and they're gonna have to back off with a full Uber. That's pretty unfortunate there, but it's probably the right move.
Moop is actually getting fragged by MG as well. They lose their demo at the very tail end of that, as MG and Decap are both kind of forward trying to get these frags. Oh, deleted! Dev just got deleted. He does get the force! What? He was dead for so long before that medic popped Uber.
Look, he was clearly concerned that the ragdoll was going to come back to life and get a frag there. But that doesn't matter as Doge just hits another shot. Hyper doing work on the backline, eventually gets cleaned up by Lammy, but Ben follows up on his damage. Spade jumps in and they'll clean up a 10, and holy moly, there is a quicker push with the Tommy Slap coming out, but wow, that was some insane work there from Hyper. and eventually clean up from Ben and Spade. That was really amazing coordination there.
Yeah, Doge just hitting some shots as well. Doge is a very, very capable sniper, as I said again. But we do see this, what is this, 5th mid, 6th mid coming in here, and I think we do see Rising is actually running crits here to see if they can counter some of this aggression that they've been seeing from Red Team.
We also have the Pyro from Hyper. It's going to be interesting to see how they try to use that. Probably run them underneath, but actually he's just kind of standing in the sniper nest right now. He's going to see if he can deal with this order, but so much aggression coming in here from League of Super Evil. They are not really getting any kills, but they're definitely getting the positioning right now, and that might just be enough as the damage is coming in right now. And here comes the flank. Medic's so weak, Rising. He has 75% and he's on 50% health. It's just this Hyper Pyro doing his best to defend his medic, and like he's doing a pretty decent job at it, but there's just no way they can actually get in there and cap him mid. For sure, so they just have to retreat.
They do choose to back out here. They do very, very nearly have crits. Hyper might actually get caught by the aggressive scout with the beam in it from MG, but Spade's coming out here. The Uber might actually...
Zero picks up 2 with a massive bomb. So that certainly wasn't the best play by Hyper. But on mid, Hyper was a massive freak. He defended his medic like a giant condom, blocking and plus forwarding the enemy players.
Indeed, I guess. I kind of agree what you just said, but I'm slightly confused by it.
Yeah, and it's 4-2 as I predicted, so match is over, and yep, that's it.
We do see still a few minutes left on the timer there, about 13 minutes left on the timer, so we head into mid number, oh goodness, 7 here.
There we go, that's how you count.
Hyper indeed, running Pyro again on this mid, as I mean, I did agree with what Clem said, but it's like interesting way of saying it. Hyper did do enough work on his team there. Take us through this mid, Foz.
Okay, so we see MG and Atten getting a ton of point presence, but Moop and Ben just get a ton of damage out. Spade cleans up. Hyper's really doing jack shit on Pyro. Gets one scorch shot off that Spade actually cleans up. Atten's kind of dancing around the port beneath the point, getting the health back. He will die of afterburn, so at the moment I call Hyper out, he actually gets some really important frags, and despite the earlier point presence and what seemed like better positioning, League of Super Evil just crumbled unexpectedly.
Hyper seeing if he can jump up to the health pack with his scorch shot on while he's capping mid.
I mean, that's science. Maybe with the detonator. I don't know. But
yeah, maybe as a real class, he might have been able to get higher.
Man, you're a Pyro, man. You can't talk.
I haven't played Pyro for like 2 years, dude. 3 years.
This is a commentary that all of Australia needs.
So here we see like a 30% Uber out on the side of Nefarious, and they've got a 4-2 scoreline with them in the lead. Surely
this spy is actually spy checked so hard by Hyper. Hyper spy checking, playing the Pyro's role to a T. But this Uber is actually forced in. They pop the crits, but you know, crits does nothing against shiny gamers. Ben actually does fall, and the flash onto the pocket does kill someone else. Hyper going down. The point is being played by Spade. He's doing so much work.
God.
Oh my
okay,
goodness.
I'd like to point out, Spade hit like a midi, then was just jumping around with his escape plan, capping the point during that entire fight. That was
yeah, and then he set up
plays.
perfectly to just get like the easiest kills of his life. Like he just put stickies on the point and blew gamers up. That was a huge play by Spade. Yeah, Decap's still learning, guys. Just, you know, he's special. Leave him alone.
Oh my god.
Anyway, Dev is in here on the demo man immediately.
Trades
he gets it.
Yeah, that's well played on the side of him, but we see Atten coming in behind, but Spade's aggression being backed up by Ben there quite a lot, and Doge actually jumping in from the rear. It's just Omni and MG as they're both trying to back out here. Atten getting cleaned up in the rear by Ben there, but we do see this Uber being saved at the very last minute.
That's definitely true, and I would please appreciate you if you didn't keep saying clean up in the rear. This is a Christian stream.
You have no power here. We can say whatever we want. I will kick you from this mumble that I think you own.
Oh, Omni actually does get cleaned up. There's so much aggression on the side of blue team while we're having our goofs and our gaffs. We do see blue team coming in here, rising on full Uber advantage as Omni is indeed still dead. There's one sentry gun being set up at last, but it's going to get spammed down by the super aggressive play from blue team, and they just need to stand on the point. These spawns actually do come in. Spade is playing the point, hitting some nice rockets there. Dev actually cleans him up, and oh my god, Rising is dropping everyone, trying to go for arrows. Does lose his life for it, and this does look like a last has been held from red team.
Yeah, now we just have some pyro on pyro action. It's oh, never mind. I'm robbed of that. I'm sure Javi will come back on pyro, but yeah, I was just barely some respawners coming in there, getting onto the point in time. We see Demoman just trying to cap out this point, but he's going to get taken down.
Two people behind. Doge and Ben are on last point here. This is a back cap. They fight the pyro. Pyro gets taken down super low. Those two players playing bottom, I think that was bottom right. Either bottom right or bottom left. I'm not sure what direction I'm looking at it from, but they walked in and fragged the pyro. Some top tier casting coming in here.
That's alright. Here you go.
DCAP has figured out the rollout, guys. He figured it out.
Okay, so does this... I think under the new rules of ozfortress, that immediately grants a 4-round advantage to your team's favourite.
The mid pit kid. I don't know what issue. I think it was like a sticky or...
Doge is coming in behind, actually taking a lot of damage onto Omni. Spade cleaning that up really quickly as he's jumping in behind as well. Does look like he's going to lose his life. Actually, no, nice shot from Doge, cleaning up Mitch in the MG rather, in the very last seconds of that mid, as that is a complete wipe, losing only their demo on the side of Nefarious.
So, Peter, like, as a fellow TF2 veteran and eight and a half minutes left on the clock, and Super Evil just having lost that mid, can they still pull it back to evens to force a golden cap?
Well, I've already used my my Australian team at LAN joke, right? So yeah. I'm just gonna go with probably not. I mean, it's technically possible, right? But I think at this point you're just kind of playing. I mean, you might as well try to come back, obviously, but yeah, you just probably want to try and see if you can like hold last really well. Like, that's a good place to start, but this group's going to come in, you're going to see if you can try to deal with that. This Pyro's trying his best, but the Sender Gun will go down regardless. Soda comes in here, Spade with the flank. Looks like everyone else has just been taken down. Spade's on the point. Yeah, it's just going to bait everyone forward, and that's going to be 7-2. And, we can speculate all we want, but there was no...
Yeah, that is indeed the 5-win difference there being hit. And that does look like that our victors for this One Night Cup are indeed Team Nefarious, beating the League of Super Evil in both maps. It was close, there was a lot of back and forth, but it was just a much, much more dominant game from Nefarious.
So,
are we getting a third map?
Just talk to me for a second.
Sure.
Before we get onto that, I want to talk about awards. So, as you may or may not know, Peter, you might not know about this, but ozfortress distributes awards based on performance. We've got different categories. I think E2F well does this. So I'd like to announce the
Please stop
we've got
talking.
a TF5 most improved
Please stop
award.
talking.
I think
Please
my
stop.
vote goes to decaf. What do you guys think?
That's some toxic behavior there, Clem.
I'm sorry, Obla has now been removed from the situation.
He just got kicked from Mumble.
That's so unfortunate.
I believe this is even his Mumble, but yes. We do have some logs. Let's go through some logs here, see if we can dissect what happened here. Spade actually playing super, super well. Top damaging for his team there. With 345 DPM. He was actually doing a lot. I think Spade has improved quite a lot over the last few seasons. He's been playing really well. He was I think used to main scout, but now he's maining pocket, and he's playing really, really well. He's taken to the role quite a lot, and he's doing a lot of work. His positioning is really good. I mean, obviously this is a cup where we don't necessarily know how to play these maps anymore, because I don't know if there's anyone still playing the games from back then, apart from maybe Sol. But yeah, I mean, Spade's been playing really well. Who else apart from Spade stands out to you in the logs here, Beta?
Oh, definitely Doggy. He went 27 kills. He had the most kills of anyone, and he died 9 times. That's super good as roamer. it's very difficult to put words into just how impactful that is. And he was just making everything work. Like, he had a bit of sniper, a bit of spy, just 0 deaths on those and a bunch of kills, and then a bit of heavy as well. So just huge impact from him. And then Decap had a lot of damage as well. I was making fun of his rollouts, which is fun, but he was actually doing a lot of work as well. Just want to point it out. I don't want to shit on him too much. Huge fan, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, the red team did do a lot of work. MG actually not being able to shine as much as he did on the last map for his team, unfortunately. He did play really well on Yukon and did a lot of damage and a lot of work for his team, but I think this map was just not quite so scout friendly, as they were just getting walked over by the aggression from Moop and the coordination from the 2 soldiers, and just that cleanup. Again, Ben playing quite well on his scout role, but Hyper, I think he played Pyro more than he played anything else that game. It was like Pyro and Engineer, but I think Hyper technically mains Engineer, but his aim is just so good. He played a lot of classes to a great effect in that game. But yeah, I mean, so that's our last map, I believe. I don't think we're doing anything else. We'll get back to you on that if we end up doing another map or something like that. But at the moment,
this definitely won't be the case.
At the moment, I mean, for that game there was our sort of premiere game. I mean, it was not necessarily the highest level players playing in that. Like our top, like, teams that won Premiere last season both didn't play in this cup, but we do see some up and coming talent sort of flexing their muscles here. Who was your man of the match, as it were? Let's go down the list. Howie, man of the match for you, Beta?
I'd say Spade. Spade was just he made some really good plays. Even when, like, it wasn't him getting all the kills, he was setting all the players up really well, and he was doing a ton of damage. So he's my man of the match.
Foz, who do you reckon stood out for you? Do you agree? Do you disagree?
I'm going to go with Hyper, honestly. I think he not for his jovial off-classing, but I think he just did some decent work in terms of, getting positioning for his team, getting some good cleanup frags. I think he put in a solid performance in both maps. I really enjoyed it.
How's about you stop playing MGE for a second? Who is your man of the match, Clem?
As you can see, we're actually in the new TF5 studio down in the city. We'll talk more about that later. My man of the match in that game actually turns out to be Hyper. Probably not because he played Pyro, but also
Are you
yes.
Sure?
Okay, it's Spade. Spade did a lot of work on both maps there, and I have to congratulate him on his efforts.
Yeah, for me, I reckon it's either Spade or even Moop. Moop did quite a lot of damage for his team, but Spade was just in the right place at the right time. He's, as I said before, taken to the pocket role really, really well. He plays quite selflessly and takes that ground and does the damage. I'm really, really impressed with his pocket play recently.